Okay, good
Hi.
afternoon, ladies. I'm so excited to have you with me today. I'd love to hear from you in the chat bar as I go along. This is going to be an interactive session. So for now, please let me know in the chat bar who you are, how you are, what do you do as a profession? Because that's going to come in handy as I get going in the presentation. I'll try and find examples that are relevant to you. So let me know in the chat bar how you are, say hello, and ultimately I would like to know what industry you're in. What is your profession? So let's get some of that chat going and just confirm that you can hear me, you can see my presentation, because when I get going, I'm very enthusiastic and I want to make sure you capture everything, and I'll go very quickly. So awesome. We have Asli. Hello, Asli. Good to see you. Everyone else in the group, let me know what industry you're in the chat bar, please. And we will move forward very quickly, because today is all about getting your video content started, right? So this is for you. This webinar is for you. If you know you need to start with video, but you just can't figure out how to start, or if you feel a bit nervous, uncomfortable presenting and being in front of a camera, or if you feel overwhelmed by technology and you're really worried filming is going to be a bit too complicated, or if you feel you just don't have the time to get started, it's just going to be too time consuming. So which one are you? Are you a 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe you're none of the above and you're just curious? So let me know in the chat bar, which one are you? Are you a 1? Are you a 2? Are you a 3? Are you a 4? Or maybe you're none of the above. So Cardella says she's a 2. We're going to work on that. You're going to get comfortable in front of a camera. So I can see Cardella's a 2. What about everyone else in here? Dia is a 4. She doesn't have the time. Okay, I can see she's a busy woman. What about the rest of you? Usually you're one of these correlates with you. So the point I'm trying to make is that whoever you are, it is possible you have thought one of these things, and we're going to dispel those myths for you today so you can get started. And Asti says she's a 3, overwhelmed by technology. Okay, so what you will discover, and I have some weird red lines. Can you see the red lines that have appeared on my screen?
Yeah. You'll have to stop
sharing and do it again. Let me just do that quickly to get rid of those. Apologies. That's what happens when you go live. Unusual things. Unusual things happen, but it's fine because we pick up where we left off. So what you're going to discover is how to decide on your content without feeling uncertain about it, how to gain confidence in front of a camera, what equipment you need without feeling overwhelmed, how to plan so you save time, and so much more. That is our goal here today. And remember, it's not your fault that you don't know where to start, or you're not comfortable, or the technology feels overwhelming. We didn't grow up with this, and it's evolving every day. So, don't beat yourself up. It is something that we all need to catch up on. However, it all ends today because we're going to discover how simple and easy it is to develop your own video content plan. That is the objective of this session. I'm going to be talking very quickly. I'm going to spend the beginning just addressing why this matters and why I feel I can help you. Then I have a formula that I've called my show formula, which breaks down how to get going with content planning. I do have a special offer that I'm going to share with you at the end, and then I will be available for any questions you have about video. So I want you all to imagine you can wave a wand and you know exactly what content works for you, and you're recognized as an expert in your field. You're comfortable and confident on camera. You have your video plan done with time to spare. Imagine that, right? And why do I feel why do I feel confident and comfortable in sharing this with you? Is because I do have over 25 international awards in this space, from New York and from Cannes. I've been doing this a very long time. So I'm a speaker, I'm a consultant, I'm a panelist, and usually always speaking about my niche, which is video. I'm a contributor to a bunch of magazines. You may have read something before. But ultimately, I have over 20 years experience. I have a video group, Ti22 Films. I started 10 years ago. We do a lot of high-end content, but Dubai On Demand is actually where we work with a lot of small business owners and thought leaders to help them get going with their video content. So I skimmed through that very quickly, but I just wanted to reassure you that I know what I'm talking about. And why my story and why does it matter to you? So I grew up I went too fast. I grew up behind the camera, and I think most of us do. If you're anywhere in this part of the world, you probably are not that comfortable being the face of your business, culturally even. So for me, culturally, if anyone Arabic is here, you know, you hear words like aib, you know, it's like you're not meant to be doing that. You're not meant to be putting yourself out there. Or like my mom, whenever I post anything on social media, the first thing she says is like, "Hayatuka ain," which is like, they're going to give you an evil eye, you know? So it's like you're basically discouraged from promoting yourself, you know, in this part of the world. Whereas in the Western world, you know, you almost grow up with a camera and grow up putting yourself out everywhere. And I realized actually only a couple of years ago, the importance of me putting myself in front of my business, because my business was growing, but nobody really knew who I was and knew what I was bringing to the table. But more importantly, it's quite a funny story that I worked on. I was in Burj Khalifa in 2010. Anyone guess what I was doing or what I was filming on Burj Khalifa?
Filming Tom Cruise.
Yes, Cardella, you knew the answer. So I don't think you're allowed to answer any questions going forward. Okay, but
I took your courses.
Yeah, I was filming on Mission Impossible. I was on the crew for Mission Impossible. And any guesses, I would love to know in the chat bar, any guesses what the main question I get asked when people find out that I worked on a feature film? Any guesses what the main question I get asked when they find out I worked on specifically Tom Cruise as films? Any guesses? What people ask me? Just throw a guess.
Is he nice in person?
Is he nice? I get, is he nice? Is he good looking? Is he really that short? It was literally, I get every question about Tom Cruise. I get zero questions about my experience working on a feature film. None. No one cares. No one cares. And then you have more and more of these experiences and you realize people don't care about what happens behind the camera. They only care about what happens in front of the camera. And then I came across this term, which I thought was quite interesting, which is leapfrogging. You know, which is when you start to realize other people in your industry who maybe do similar things to you are somehow getting much more visibility and more opportunities than you. And like, how is this happening? And it's purely because they're more visible than you are. They're putting themselves out more. And as a result, they're attracting the opportunities that maybe you should be getting, or maybe you would have a stronger chance of getting. So then I met this lady. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's a celebrity chef. And I did a shoot with her a few years ago. And I asked her, like, how did she get started? And she mentioned that, you know, her kids always said that she was talented in the kitchen. And she just put a video out on YouTube. So she did that. She had a huge response. So a week went by and they said, you should post another one. So she posted another one. And within, I guess it was 3 years, she is close to 3 million followers on her Instagram page. She's a celebrity chef now. Her name is Manal Al Alam, and she's turned it into a whole second career. It's a new life for her. You know, she's now turned her cooking videos into a revenue stream. It's a new life. It's built. It's a new start. You know, and what I love about this story is that she's in her 60s. You know, so she's not someone who grew up with social media. She didn't grow up filming herself. Culturally, she's an Arabic woman, you know, so she's kind of dispelled all of those myths, and she's very respected, and she's doing this. And when I saw her and I thought, if Manal can, I can. And it's quite simple. We all can, right? So why am I teaching this? When this dawned on me, that's when I started to feel like I needed to stop putting myself in front of the camera. I needed to push myself. And only when I started to do that, did I start to attract more opportunities. But then I realized I'm not alone. A lot of the business owners and business professionals are so used to taking a back seat that they're too shy, and they're people you wouldn't expect. So I don't know if you know either of these women, but Neeru Sharma is a coach. She's a very confident, you know, experienced coach. It took me a year to convince her to go in front of the camera, a whole year of like, you have something important to share, you have value, and her going, yeah, I'm just not sure how I feel, I'm not sure how I look, I'm not sure. It's a different experience. Similarly, Karen Osman is an author. Same thing, you know, it took a very long time to get her in front, both of whom are now super confident. You know, Karen has been doing it for 2 years. You can't get her off a camera. And Neeru, if you follow her, she's now doing LinkedIn lives on her own. So I've seen that transformation happen. And for most people, they just need the push, and they need to realize that what they have in their head is immense knowledge that is of use to people, and to embrace that. So the elephant in the room, you're like, yeah, okay, you're talking to me about an award-winning author, and you're talking to me about a coach. Well, actually, you know, our thought leaders are from every industry. We work with chefs, we work with dietitians, we work with lawyers. I don't know if any of these women, or even men, are familiar to you, but they're all experts in their individual niches, right? So all you really need to think about is, what is your area of expertise? Can you be a thought leader in that area? You probably can. You probably have enough knowledge in that area, and embrace it. And that's what the goal is behind your content strategy, and behind pushing you to be visible with it. So now that I've given you a little bit of an insight into what we're going to be delving into, do you want to be known and respected as an expert in your niche? Is that something you want? So that's a question you need to ask yourself. And if it is, I want to hear from you in the chat bar. I want you to let me know.
Yes, please. Yes.
Kim is in. All right. That was easy. Rowena's also in. That's also great. So that's the goal. Most of us have this thought in our head, and then it's like, well, okay, they give up on it. But no, you can do this. Everyone else has done it. You can do it now. So we're going to sprint ahead onto what we're going to be discussing. We're going to discuss how to decide on your content without feeling uncertain, how to gain confidence in front of a camera, equipment you need so you don't feel overwhelmed, how to plan so you save time. A big part of this is planning, and so much more. How are we going to do this? Through my content planning strategy. So hoping you're with me so far. We're good on time, and I'm going to get going into the meat of our session. All good? Yes, yes. I can see Kim, I can see Rowena, a lot of yeses. Okay, awesome. So we're going to start with my S. My S is select your who. Select your who. So if you're going to start creating content, you know, this is the first pillar for you to look at. And underneath that, I cover 3 areas. Identify your objective, focus on your expertise, and establish your passion. And I'll delve into each one a little bit more. I'm just having a quick look at the chat. From what I can see, Ashley is into designing luxury interiors. Oh, interesting. Crystal healing, heliology, very interesting stuff going on. So I'll use some examples related to that. And Dia is an executive coach and leadership facilitator. So I'll give you some examples related to that as well. So identifying your objective, what that really means is know why you are doing this. What is the point, right? Why are you creating videos? What do you want the end result to be? And the reason this is important is because the type of content that you put out there is going to be completely different, right? Depending on your objective. So I'll give you an example when it comes to myself. So if I want to be positioned as a thought leader in my space, I want to get more, you know, public speaking opportunities. I want to get more opportunities to contribute in magazines. The type of video content I'm going to put out there is all going to talk about the future of my industry, right? It's all going to talk about current trends. I'm going to talk about changes in technology, how AI is impacting us. I'll talk about the type of content will all position me as a thought leader, and ultimately someone out there will say, you know what, can you come and be a speaker at our event? Can you share your thoughts on a panel? That's what if that's my objective, that's the content I need to do. However, if my objective is to sell videos, right? My objective is, you know what, I just need customers right now, right? So then they don't care. I don't think any of you care about the future of AI, you know? So I think what you need is like, how is video going to help you in your business right now? You know, what are the steps that you need to take, you know, to get started with video? What are some of the types of videos you can do? So the type of content I share is now speaking to an audience, which will help me meet my sales objective. Does that make sense? Yes, it's a two-way street, my friends. Let me know. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So for each of you, regardless of your industry, so Ashley, if you're in luxury interiors, if you want to be profiled in some high-end magazines or in high-end publications or whatever it may be, then for you, you're going to be talking about, you know, how you've designed and conceptualized and, you know, come up with a particular look and feel, you know, that's very high end. However, if you're just trying to get your next customer, you know, it may be why, you know, doing feng shui is going to help them, you know, redesign their space. Something that's more accessible for them and what they're looking for at that time. I hope that's a relevant
Reem,
example.
I have a question.
Yes.
What if you have dual objectives? So while you want to position yourself as a thought leader, you also want to engage with prospective clients. What about then?
So my gut feeling is it takes anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks for anyone to really see you and understand what you do. So you then don't change your objective within the 8 to 12 weeks. So what I tend to do is plan for a quarter. So let's say right now, I'm very clear. My objective right now is sales. I actually don't care how many magazines or whatever else happens. So for the next 12 weeks, I'm just going to focus my content on how my videos can help you in your business and keep it focused on value. Because if you keep it focused on value, it builds your credibility and ultimately that could lead to more business. But if after that, you're like, you know what, I'm done with this objective. Now I want to build myself as a thought leader. Spend the next 3 months really talking about more high level content that could position you differently. So I wouldn't change your objective within the 3-month period because it takes people that long to like watch, catch on and understand what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Cool. So the next thing you're going to talk about is what are you an expert in? What can you comfortably and confidently keep speaking about till the cows come home? Like for me, it's clearly video content, but for you, what is that topic, right? And the caveat I want to add is that what are you passionate about? Because when you start creating video content, you have to keep your momentum going, right? You have to be consistent. It doesn't work to do one video and then disappear for 2-3 weeks and then do another video. And that normally only happens if you're not actually passionate about your subject matter. If you're passionate about it, then somehow you find the time. You find the time and you're able to do it, right? So what I'm trying to share is make sure it's this topic you're an expert in and you're passionate about. I'm going to give you a quick example of a lawyer we work with. Full expertise in the legal system. She understands law inside out. We started creating videos with her. She started canceling her shoots. You sort of think, well, what's good? There's something deeper going on here. Why is she canceling? And, you know, we had a content session and she just said she's not enjoying it. You know, she's actually not enjoying doing her videos about law, although she studied law, her, you know, everything she talks about is, you know, that's her day-to-day life. But what she's actually more passionate about is entrepreneurial stories, understanding how to grow a business. So we've now completely shifted her content. And suddenly in 1 month, she had 2 shoot days, interviewed 8 people. It's like the energy suddenly came from nowhere, right? So I'm just sharing this with you because sometimes you run and you're like, yep, I'm going to start doing videos about luxury interiors. Are you passionate about luxury interiors? If you're not, you know, then maybe rethink what is the focus that you wanna move in on. And one good question to ask yourself is, what do you want to be known as? What do you want to be known as? Do you want to be known as a luxury interior person? Do you want to be known as the excellence leadership person? I don't know. Whatever that is, that niche that you want to be known as, and then try and target your content on that. Rowena's asking me about the ideal number of videos you need to create within the 8 to 12. So regardless of which social media platform you go on, they will all recommend you're active at least daily. That's what they will recommend. However, I know that overwhelms a lot of people. So what I tend to say is a minimum go for weekly. If you can at least be consistent once a week, you know, then you start building the momentum and building an audience. So for a lot of business professionals, they haven't done this before. Then you say something like daily, they fall off the chair. It'll never happen, you know? So I'm like, forget that. Just get to a point where you're doing it once a week and then build from that. And I've got a few techniques I'll share with you shortly, right? So that is the first pillar. The first pillar was S, right? S, and when we talk about S, it's literally, just to recap, I know we had a couple of people who joined us late. The S is for show, select your who, identify your objective, focus on your expertise, establish your passion. That's my S, right? We're now going to move on to the H, which is harness your topic. And this is my zone of genius. So I will explain how this works. We're going to identify your content themes and we're going to identify your content strands. So what this means is in your head, you have so much knowledge. You have so much knowledge and expertise. I want you to break it down. Imagine you're breaking it down into topics, right? So every topic is a theme, right? Every topic is a theme. So again, I'll use interiors. I think Asli was interiors. Actually, not interiors. You've got a completely different area. I keep saying interiors, but accessories, lifestyles, gemstones. So in the example you've given, Asli, you could have gemstones is a theme. Crystal healing, or just healing, not crystal, healing is a theme. Practitioners is a theme. So you put down those as topics. Then you have strands, which are within it. So Asli, in your case, if gemstones is a theme, then the strands is every single stone, right, that you have in the world of gems, right? If healing is a theme, then the strands are every possible type of healing that is out there. And there are a lot of different, therapies out there. Again, I don't know if for you, Dia, let's say leadership skills, leadership coaching, right? If that's a theme, let's say one of them is giving leaders tips. You think of every possible tip you can give them to improve their leadership skills, right? So the idea is that you've taken all of your knowledge, you break it down into big chunks, big themes, and then break that down even further into the subtopics, which are the strands, right? And when you do that exercise, two things are going to happen. You're either going to keep writing, because you have so much there, right? Or in some areas, you won't have enough. And if you don't have enough to say, then maybe you're not as big as an expert as you think you are, right? But hopefully you are writing a lot, and every single strand will then represent a video, right? So that's the idea. You see way too many people trying to stuff a lot of content into one video. Break it down into the simplest possible tip or a piece of knowledge and turn that into a video on its own. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'll give you a very quick example of the author we work with, Karen. So Karen has 4 themes. She has book of the month, right? She has book of the month. She interviews an author. She talks about she interviews a personality about the book that changed their life. And she updates us on the top 5 books every month. So those are her themes. So the reason it's easy to break it down in that way is because when you start planning, so for the whole year, week 1 of every month, she does a book of the month. Week 2 of every month, she interviews an author. Week 3 of every month, she interviews a personality. Week 4 of every month, she gives us an update on the top books. So it makes it very easy to plan. Every month, you know exactly which 4 videos you're going to do, right? And then if she's planning long term, like she's someone who's super organized. So by January, she's already picked like her 12 books, her 12 authors, her 12 personalities. It's done. Her content plan for the whole year is done. So that's why I recommend breaking it in this way, because it just helps you like really plan for a whole year. It's not overwhelming anymore. Does that make sense? Are we good to move on?
Yeah.
Amazing. So then we move on to my O, which is optimize your video. So we're going to discuss the types of video. We're going to review the feasibility and the locations, and we're going to talk about scheduling and pilot production. So there are so many different types of video out there. And what I tend to recommend to anyone who's just starting is to focus on three types of video. The 3 that I'm going to suggest you focus on is number 1 is a piece to camera. A piece to camera is like what I'm doing right now. I'm talking straight to camera and I'm giving you tips, advice. It's useful when you're sharing education or information. So if you want to share knowledge, you don't need someone else. You can just be yourself talking straight to camera. That's called a piece to camera, right? The second type of video that's really important are interviews. Interviews are key for 2 reasons. The first being that it can add credibility to your content. So if you're bringing experts in, or you're bringing somebody who can really raise the profile of your content, then it's definitely worth doing. So also be selective about the people you bring into your content. Right? You want them to raise the bar a little bit. And the other reason it's useful to do interviews is to expand your reach. Because when you start doing video content, you may not have a lot of people watching, which is quite normal. It's very normal that your first few videos, nobody's really watching until you start building that momentum and you're doing it consistently. So when you bring someone else into your videos, we're all vain people, we're all going to share them. So if I'm in your video, I will probably share it. So just consider that as well, that it'll help you grow your audience. So that's why interviews are important. And the third is demonstration. Videos are a very visual medium, right? So when people are watching, they want to see a transformation, they want to see a change, they want to see something different. If you're an interior designer, perhaps you show a before and an after. You know, if you're cooking makeup, that kind of thing is very easy because you can actually see step by step what they're doing. I don't know, even in healing, I don't know if there's something visual that we see, like crystals transforming, or I don't know if there's something where a session, you get someone's opinion before the session, they do the session, you get their opinion afterwards. But ultimately, anything that showcases a demonstration or a transformation helps with conversion. So those are usually the three that I suggest people start off with when they're planning their content. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to our theme. So all of that knowledge we had, and think about the types of video that are going to work, right? So just to give you a simple example, if I'm an interior designer and I have just redone a house, right? I can either do a piece to camera where I talk to you about it. I can either do an interview where I get the homeowner to tell you about all the changes we've made, or I can do a demonstration and I actually show you what it looked like before and after and have different shots and you see the transformation. So that, I hope that explains how it's actually the same content. I've just done it in 3 different ways, right? So you need to figure out which type of video works best with the theme that you have. Yeah? I'm going to pause just to make sure everyone is happy. Okay, I got 2 thumbs up, which is good to see. Thank you. All right, let's keep going. Then we're going to talk about feasibility, right? The reason we do this is because when you do your plan, it all looks great on paper, right? But then is it actually realistic? So again, going back to our interior designer, like if I've had designers who are very attached to their work, you know, so they want to showcase what they've done in somebody's home. And so they're like, yeah, I'm going to be filming this every week. But then it's actually quite difficult. Like a lot of homeowners don't want a camera in their home. They don't want you to come in and film it, you know, so it's great that this is your plan, but do you honestly think you're going to get a homeowner to let you in every week? Maybe not, you know. Or I've had some people who say, I'm going to interview a CEO every week. Amazing. Do you know that many CEOs? Have you tried getting in their diaries? Do you know how busy they are? You know, so it's might be a great idea for the future, but go with the ideas that are feasible, the ones that you can actually consistently keep doing every week, right? So that's the whole objective of thinking about feasibility. Location is another really important thing to think about. You want to ideally pick a location that is aligned with your content. So if we're filming with a chef, you want to be in a kitchen. If you're filming with a gym instructor, you want to be in the gym. You want to be in an environment that lends itself to the content that you're sharing. Sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes you don't have a location. Fine. Pick a location that, a few tips I want to give you is make sure the lighting in that location is great, right? Lighting is really important. So right now I'm sitting with the window in front of me. So automatically the window lights me up. Sorry to use this as an example, Dia, but your window is behind you. So because the window is behind you and the light is behind you, that's very distracting. If Dia was literally behind it, she would be darker. Right? So you just need to be conscious of things like the light in the room that you're selecting, right? Second really important thing is the audio. So people don't realize that sound is 50% of your viewing experience. 50%, right? So you want to be in a location where you can control sound. I see too many people filming in coffee shops. Why would you do that? Have you heard a coffee roaster go off? That's like one of the most distracting things to have at the back of your video, right? So it's like, I don't get it with people clinking and clanking, and like find a location that is quiet, a location that, you know, is audible. Even things like the AC. The AC is much noisier than you realize, you know? So make a note of, is this somewhere where you can control the AC, where you can turn it off? Is it also a location that you can have access to at any time? Because sometimes, especially if you're filming guests, they may want to film at random times. So try and find a location. It may take you a while to find the right location. But these are the key things to remember, is the sound primarily and the light. Those are the two things that to keep in mind. Scheduling. So when you come to scheduling, there are 2 things to keep in mind. Number 1 is you want to, when we work with people, we film with them 1 day a month. So we film with them 1 day a month. We create the 4 videos on that 1 day. So you have it ready for the month ahead, right? So that is the most sensible way of doing things, because it just means that you've batch produced, you're not wasting a lot of time, and you can plan ahead, right? And you never want to be in a situation where what you film today, you're posting tomorrow, because then that causes stress and you don't have enough of a buffer, right? So ideally, if you've done it like a month ahead, right, then it's fine, you're safe. If unfortunately you're unwell today, you need to travel tomorrow, whatever, your content doesn't suffer, because scheduling is one of the most important things to build your audience. You actually need to be consistent with your posting, right? So that's one, is the production, but two is then the posting side of things, right? So which I'll get to shortly, but that was the main thing I wanted to mention when it came to scheduling. Branding, I also think, is super important. And what I mean by branding is actually creating a brand for your video content. So I think I might have an example. The chef, we work with a chef. Our chef is a specialist in bread. He knows everything there is to know about bread. He wants all his videos to be about bread. So we came up with a brand for him, which is The Truth About Bread. Right? So what that means is, for you, if you're Googling, you're searching, you want to watch a video about bread, he's going to pop up at the top, right? And you know his content is all about bread, right? As opposed to him just being another chef. Or it's actually, he has a bakery. He has a bakery called Baker's Kitchen. We haven't branded the video series as per his bakery. His videos are just about him and building his credibility. So it's always useful to come up with a brand to ensure that the video has a separate identity to you, and hopefully to future think as well. It may become a revenue stream for you in the future, so you just want to have it branded. It looks more professional. Then we come to actually filming. So the idea behind a pilot production, the idea behind a pilot is that you're going to experiment, right? You want to try, you want to see what works, you want to see what doesn't. Sometimes all these ideas you have on paper, they sound great, and then when you come to film them, they don't always work out so well. So just be prepared that your first shoot, not everything will work, and that's normal. That's totally normal. The goal is to learn from it and improve. If you are going to do this on your own, the 3 pieces of equipment that I highly recommend you investigate or you purchase are a tripod, a light, and number 1 is definitely a microphone. Because as I mentioned already, sound is 50% of your viewing experience, which means that you really need to prioritize your sound levels and buy if you're only going to buy one thing, make it a microphone. Because the others, like the lighting, you can, as long as you're in a well-lit place, you may be able to get away with it. And a tripod just keeps things steady. So those are the 3 purchases. But having said that, if you're someone who's looking at taking this further, this is actually where we offer monthly packages. We film with you 1 day a week, and then that way you have your content ready for the coming month. So that's, hopefully by now we're ready for production. And that's everything that covers our O, which is optimizing video. I'm going to move on to the W, unless anyone has any questions so far. Otherwise, I'll keep going. I'm going to take silence as acceptance, which is great. So the W is, we're going to watch the opportunities pour in, and the areas that I like to cover are partnerships, sponsorships, and social media distribution. So what do I mean by a partner? A partner is not somebody who is going to pay us. This is not a monetary exchange. This is somebody who we are hoping is in a synergistic space to us that can help increase the reach of our content. Because as I mentioned, when you start, you probably don't have a lot of viewers, right? So we need to build this. So who are the possible partners we can align with who can spread the word? So these are usually brands, organizations, entities. To give you one example, on Karen's content, Karen, the author, we have Borders Bookshop as a partner. That is a perfect partnership because number 1, everyone knows Borders, so it's actually helped us increase the credibility. Number 2, every time we post a video, they share it. So automatically it's being shared with a wider audience, which is great. Number 3, we try to see what else can we get out of this partnership. And they have screens on top of some of the counters in Borders. So we actually show the videos on those screens. So a partnership really is about increasing your reach, increasing your credibility, but it's not monetary. So think about where are those partnerships for your industry. Yeah. So that's the partner side. Sponsors is monetary. So sponsors is when you're hoping to turn your content into a revenue stream. This takes much longer. This only really happens if you've been consistent with your content and you've started building an audience that a brand is interested in targeting, right? So I don't know, Asli, if you start creating regular content about energy healing, right, and crystals, and you're doing this consistently for 7, 8, 9 months, it's possible that on month number 10, you know, some gemstone company will approach you and say, you know what, I want to sponsor your content, but please use my gemstones, you know, and because you have built an audience of people who are the right fit for that brand, right? So it doesn't happen straight away, it happens in time. However, I do think it's worth thinking about it early. The reason I think it's useful, because then in your journey, every now and then you can create a video that is aligned with a brand. You know, so we were working with a physiotherapist, and she mentioned that one of the biggest issues right now is that everyone is kind of slouching and they're online and they're sitting like this. And she's like, they need to be sitting up, and ergonomic chairs can really help with that. I was like, great. So let's do a video where you talk about the benefits of using an ergonomic chair. It's still aligned with her content. It's still aligned with her audience. But who knows? Who knows if in 6 months' time, you know, some ergonomic chair company out there is like, you know what, we want you to represent us because you believe in the importance of sitting up straight. I don't know. But you get the idea. I'm just suggesting you start thinking about it early and not, you know, leave it to chance later. And then the last point in our 14 steps is distribution. It is important to think about, where are you posting this content? Where is it going, right? And a big part of it is, you know, understanding who you're targeting, where are they, which social media platforms are they on? And it's not just social media, it's also the WhatsApp communities, it is, you know, your mailing list, it is physical spaces, it's screens that you can put it on. I see way too many people who create a great video and then they don't do anything with it, you know, or they post it in one place in the middle of the night without any hashtags, without anything, you know, they come back and it didn't work. It's like, really? Show me what didn't work, you know? It's like a lot of the time you'll discover that it's because they didn't distribute it properly. So the key thing for everyone here to remember is it's a combination of having a video strategy and a distribution strategy. You need to get the videos in front of people for it to convert, right? So that's really important for everyone to know. So those were my 14 steps and my show formula. So on the back of that, do you still want to be known as an expert in your field? I've lost Kim already, but she did private message me. I think she had to leave, and she was in. Who else here is ready to be an expert in their field? Let me know. Give me a yes in the chat bar. I'd love to know from where we were. I think this is where I was. Yes. So I was asking you guys, who's ready? Who's ready to be an expert? I mentioned Sven, who's our expert in bread. And then we have Karen. Karen is our author. She talks about all things books, all things writing. And yeah, she's embracing her niche. So I hope you all get this one thing. You are already an expert. You're already an expert. What you now need to do is embrace your knowledge, right? Embrace all that knowledge you have, get visible, push yourself if you need to get in front of a camera. We're doing that with Cardella this week. And stop being leapfrogged, right? Stop letting other people who don't have the same experience as you do, you know, just purely because they're being more visible. So it's time. So you might be wondering, how can I do this? How am I going to embrace my knowledge and get started? Well, I have a few solutions for you. You can either be a tortoise and
the video drive-through is a great way to have a bit of a teaser and a taster of what it's like to record your own video in front of a camera, go from script to screen, how to post it, and what kind of content you should be posting, and you'll walk away with a ready-made video in 60 minutes. Maybe just say, and we're here to help you to grow your social media. And then you can say, reach out for all the details.
And we are rolling in 3, 2, 1, action.
Awesome, man. Coffee drive-through. pizza drive-through, burger drive-through. I've even heard of a marriage drive-through. Happens in Vegas, by the way. It's a fact. Video drive-through, never heard of. Only happens over here at Dubai On Demand. So it was amazing. 60 minutes in and out with a professional video.
You need to make sure to have a few keywords of what your content is about on the thumbnail so that people know what the topic is you're talking about.
I like it, I really liked it. I like the red. So good. Now, since I'm completed with the entire process, I think it was extremely smooth. Everything is very crystal clear. In fact, during the process, even there are things that I got clarity on. And it was super fun and very, very young team. So yes, it was awesome.
Wow, nice.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
That was so quick and so amazing, right?
Wow. Excellent. Good. I plan to go forward with it, and I will definitely refer it across. Wonderful.
Pretty good. Very eye-opening, and I thoroughly recommend it for everyone. Dubai On Demand is a great service, and I think we've got a lot of value just in this 1 hour that we spent with you today.
I am super happy by the end result. I think the whole team has did an amazing job.
So I am a big believer that everyone out there is a thought leader, is a content creator, has the potential to put their knowledge on camera and just face their fear. So if that's you and you've been thinking, I really need to do this, contact us, reach out to the team at Dubai On Demand. We'd love to hear from you. We have a whole range of packages that can help you get started, and you won't know until you start, so get in touch.